Yes, so my name's Brother Paul Coleman. I've been a Capuchin Franciscan friar now. Well, I joined in 99, made my first vows in 2001. It's usually the vows that you'd count as the beginning of your life as a friar proper. So I've been a friar for just coming up to 20 years now. I did my novitiate here in Pantasaf, which is where I am now. But in between that time, I've been in several different places: Oxford, Erith, Preston, Oxford again, here in Pantasaf now, and I've also lived even in Toronto and Jerusalem at different times as well. So I've been around. I think one change is it's become a bit more relaxed. I think when I joined, it was nothing like as formal as what the stories tell me how it used to be back in the day, how formal it was then, but it still had this kind of bit of formality about it and a bit of kind of, perhaps what you might say, a bit of, a little bit of wariness perhaps sometimes. And my experience certainly is we've tended to become more relaxed, more willing just to spend time with each other and not to stand by formality so much. So I think that's one change I've seen in terms of fraternity life anyway. I think, sort of standout stories from my time as a friar. It's hard because there have been so many good experiences, and I think quite often the best experiences have been the ones where it's been with others, especially with working with the other brothers. So for example, I remember one of the experiences from my time of formation which really stood out for me was the time when we all, in the Oxford fraternity, we all worked together as the whole fraternity, all worked together to have a big celebration in the church and then in the Friary Garden for the canonisation of Padre Pio. And it was something that, as I say, we all worked together in different ways. Everybody played their part. It was a whole group effort, and that really stood out for me. As an occasion of fraternity and what we can do when we pull together. Another example of that would be when we did a Eucharistic flash mob in the city of Preston. Again, that was a case of actually, although I was the one who was in camera, there were actually the two other brothers in the fraternity were very much involved in organising it, and there were a whole bunch of other people who had to come together for it to happen. It was a whole group effort, and it was the fruit of nearly 3 years of us slowly building community amongst ourselves and with the students and with the other people. Quite a number, I suppose. I mean, I hear stories about more friars than I've ever known. There's all these friars who've gone before who I hear the stories about, but the stories from my own comparatively brief time in the order, I suppose, would include friars like we had I was speaking to the brothers just yesterday. One of the brothers who was in this community when I was a novice was Brother Simon Denton, who was he had a lot of struggle in his life, and had to overcome or become a sober alcoholic. Basically, and he shared his story with us as part of one time when we were here in the novitiate. He shared his story of that, of his own struggle with alcoholism, and how, with the help of AA, the Lord helped him through. And that was really actually inspiring in a kind of quiet and humble way. It was an inspiring thing, and that's often stayed with me. And I've enjoyed also the good example of, especially some of the lay brothers who've been the quiet sort of lay brothers sometimes who have these words of wisdom that just when we're not expecting it. I think of Brother Anthony May, for example, and Brother Bernard, people who had this kind of quiet wisdom that really made a deep impression on me.